Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. So, my neck of the woods is about to go through a natural, we don't know if it's going to be a disaster yet, uh, situation that is another one of the reasons why I spend my time and energy and extra resources prepping. Sometime Monday night, we are going to get the first bit of our, polar vortex, polar storm, and I think Tuesday is going to be the peak of it, and then for, the remainder of that week, it's going to be, lower temperatures than normal. Friday night, we're expecting the low to be between 20 and 25. Throughout the weekend, it is, every day it essentially drops about 3 degrees. And on Tuesday, we're predicting a high of 15 and a low of 7, with a small possibility of moisture in the area. So we'll possibly have snow on Monday or Tuesday. Definitely going to have ice. It's definitely going to be cold. And for my area of Texas, we don't get enough of, this kind of weather to really put a lot of, funding into, snow plows and, beat trucks to, I think that's busted on the car, but we don't put that kind of energy and effort into something that doesn't last very long for us. It's much different for a place up north that they could be using this equipment from October all the way through April. For us, it really only gets this bad for 1 to 2 weeks out of the year, and the rest of the time it's just, cold. But the fact that there is moisture, it increases the problems happening. I can't really say for certain if this freeze is going to be as bad as it was, 4 or 5 years ago. But that sucked. I was living in Corpus. My energy company was the windmills down in Corpus, and it got cold enough that, they could not spin and produce electricity. So we went roughly 5 days without power. Thankfully, up here, my heater is run off of natural gas, and there typically aren't any issues with that. But as a precaution, we went ahead, went out to the farm, chopped up another, third cord worth of wood. That way, between my house and my grandparents' house, there's, 2.5 cords of wood, just ready to go. And a mixture of, varying levels. We've got quite a bit of red oak. There's a decent amount of pecan that another one of the teachers at my work, the tree was dying, so we cut that down this past summer, so it's pretty well and seasoned. And then, any other free fall trees that came down that were, close to the service road out on the land. So there's some pine thrown in there, there's a little bit of cedar, but for the most part, to me, wood is wood. I'll burn just about anything, and, we'll just have to do a better clean of the chimney when the time comes. In addition to that, I just came back from working winter camp at a Boy Scout camp, so I've went ahead and, tossed my sleeping bags in the washer and dryer just to, get them clean. Our extra blankets we've got clean. For the pets, the cats stay inside, so they're fine. We're probably going to bring our dog inside, uh, as much as she wants to be inside. But the utility room that she's in, we do have one of those small space heaters that, when it's on high, it can heat that room up to about 80 degrees. So, not worried, in that sort of sense. But if we do lose power, we can concentrate the pets in a smaller area, and as long as we keep a fire going, we can keep everyone nice and warm. On the water side of things, I keep 3 5-gallon. I've got a couple of 6-gallon. I have one like 7.1 or 7.2 gallon water jugs that stay inside. So if we do lose water, we will have access to water inside of the house. But, hopefully putting everything on a drip, we can keep any issues from happening in our house. The things that we don't have any control of is the water lines coming into the house that are part of the city system. Inevitably, there are people that, don't leave a drip for their water systems. And, again, in our area, we take precautions, but, main water lines can break as well. So we've got the inside water storage. I've got 2 55-gallon drums outside that if I absolutely needed them, I can put them on a dolly and move them into the utility room, which I don't think we'll need to do that, but we've got access to that water as well. When it comes to food, again, it's a nice thing for having natural gas in the house. So, as long as we don't, really there's nothing wrong with losing power, because, if anything's frozen, it'll stay frozen for several days inside of the freezers. But we can also put those items in a cooler outside, and, the temperatures that we have are going to be colder than our fridge and freezer anyway. All that being said, if you are not in the same situation that we're in, if everything's electric, or maybe you live further south and you have even less precautions put into place by your, local and city, governing, then now is definitely a good time to go ahead and stock up on simple meals. One of the things that definitely got us through our winter storm was peanut butter and jelly. That was very quick and easy. Didn't require any type of, prep or water or heating or anything like that. And, it kept us fed, it kept us happy. Other things that helped out is if you have any type of camping stoves, now is definitely the time to go ahead and pick up 1 or 2 propane bottles, just to make sure you've got the stuff to prepare meals. If you have bigger barbecue stoves and things like that, maybe it's time to top off your 5-gallon propane tanks. The bigger propane stoves, that's something you're going to have to deal with outside. So, having the layers to be able to deal with that is important. The Coleman camp stove, I just set it on top of my stove. We've got a window in the kitchen that we can open up, and that allows for venting. But, pick a room in your house. If your kitchen has a window, I'd use your kitchen because you already have a sink and the counter space to do stuff there. But make sure you have a way to vent your smoke and fumes and other things. Something else that's probably a good idea to get set up is a couple of carbon monoxide detectors. Because outside of having a fireplace, the Mr. Buddy heaters are probably going to be your next best bet to keep you warm. Although in our house, our go-to plan, because it doesn't get that cold, is hop inside sleeping bags, put fuzzy blankets on top of us, and we essentially have every cat and dog in the house laying next to us or on top of us, and everyone stays warm. And having a 7-month-old baby, he's a little heater in his own right. So we definitely bundle up and cuddle up on that front. If you don't have any water storage in that 3 to 7 gallon range, it's perfectly acceptable to pick up a couple of cases of water. What a couple of cases of water won't do for you is you won't be able to use the toilet as often as you probably do. You won't be able to take a bath or a shower every night like you typically do. You're gonna have to do the old tried and true pits, groin area, and feet and face. Those are the 4 places I typically wash up if water is a problem. A emergency radio is a good idea to have in case you lose power. Some sort of ham radio is a good thing to have. Myself and my brother, for Christmas, we got the Bofang, I think it's like the IR5 or something, or IF5, something like that. And they're really only good for a handful of miles, but that's good enough for your local mag group. And then if you have any type of battery storage, whether it's just the ones that are big enough to keep your phone charged, a lot of phone companies, they do a pretty good job of, keeping that infrastructure intact, and you can get your emergency notifications that way. And if you have bigger storage systems, whether you just use solar panels to keep them topped off, maybe now's the time to go ahead and plug them into your wall and make sure that they're at 100% before you start any of this. If you've got a generator, now's a good time to probably go ahead and pick up the fuel that you'll need to run that generator for an estimated 3 to 5 days. And if you end up not using all that fuel, you've kind of prepaid to put fuel in your vehicle. Now it's probably a good time to also run your generator, and if you've got a little bit, like we've got a pump to get the gas out of ours, but it always leaves 6 to 8 ounces worth of fuel down in the bottom of it. So just running through that and making sure everything is good to go. You don't want you to lose power and go, well, I've got a generator, and you go out to start it and you're having issues with your generator. Other than that, the standard prepping supplies, apply, your first aid, your security, stuff to keep you entertained, board games, books, maybe you've got the power to run movies and things like that. Just make sure all of your other preps are ready to go. And then you sit back and, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and, depending on, how long you've been dealing with this, then you develop some sort of after action report, and you tell yourself, I always think start, stop, continue. So if you were missing a piece of gear, or you didn't do something that probably would have made the situation better, start doing that. If you maybe over prepared for something, or you were putting too much of your prepping budget into something, maybe you stop that. And then the last part is, if something worked out well, then it's probably going to work out well the next time you have a situation like that, so you should continue to do that. With that being said, let me know in the comment section down below what you're doing to prepare for it. If you have any questions, I will answer as many of them as I can. They might turn into another video. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you enjoy what we're doing with the channel, subscribe. And lastly, if you got a friend or family member that benefit from these videos, share the channel with them. And with that, catch you in the next one.